hot. Hey, everybody. It's what is it? Week 15.
It's week win or you go home.
Yeah, win or go home, and playoff picture getting clearer. Recapping the week that was. It is the audiblefootballguys.com. Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom. Baltimore 35, Giants 14. Sounds about right. Baltimore's 9-5. The Giants are 2-12, and this is a Josh Johnson game. Johnson gets in the game because Lamar Jackson was done with 5 passing touchdowns, 3 for 80 and 2 touchdowns for Rashad Bateman. Justice Hill with 5 for 61 and a receiving touchdown. He also had a couple of carries for 7 yards. You had Mark Andrews with a receiving touchdown. Devontae Walker, still love that rook, as a receiving touchdown. Zay Flowers, 6 for 53. Oh, 5 touchdowns thrown, and Zay doesn't get any. Damn it. All right, Derrick Henry, 14 for 67. He doesn't get any touchdowns either. And Lamar Jackson, 6 for 65 on the ground. But the Ravens essentially did what they wanted to the Giants, just like we thought.
Isn't it fun, Cease, to see every week a few more people discover, hey, Lamar Jackson is a really good passer, like one of the best passers in the NFL. And yeah, you didn't get a touchdown from Derrick Henry. You didn't get a touchdown from Zay Flowers. Flowers wasn't a complete bust in PPR. Henry, this is a true floor game for him, but he's one of the reasons that you're in the fantasy playoffs. And really, he hasn't been giving us the big games lately. Mark Andrews did get his touchdown to become the all-time Ravens touchdown scoring leader. Rashad Bateman, he's Nick Westbrook-Akina, but actually good. When he catches the pass, it's not going to catch many, but they can be for long touchdowns, a long and a short touchdown. Even Justice Hill hit as a what-the-heck flex. Even Tez Walker showing a little bit of hope for the future here. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, basically the AFC North Championship on Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday coming up. And for the Giants, it's can you talk Deion Sanders into letting Shedeur play for you? Because it doesn't matter if it's Tim Boyle or Tommy DeVito. I don't know why they kept showing Drew Lock on the broadcast either. Malik Neighbors gets 10 for 82 at least on 14 targets. Okay, so that's good. And a touchdown there. Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 for 38. Why am I reading anybody? Right. Tyron Tracy, 10 for 31. It was Devin Singletary with the rushing touchdown. So leave the Giants. They're going to Giants, and that's what they did.
Yeah, cruising from one of those two draft quarterbacks. If they just keep losing, Tommy DeVito leaves with a concussion. Tim Boyle will unlock Malik Neighbors. Well, Malik Neighbors had one of his best fantasy games in a while. I guess you're rooting for Tim Boyle to start against the Falcons next week. We thought we had something with Tyrone Tracy as a lead back. They were using him as lead back to a committee. So there's no Giants back we can trust. Singletary gets the touchdown and had some goal-to-go carries other than that touchdown. But again, they got that number 2 spot right now. Just keep losing. Just keep losing.
That's right. And just keep talking to Deion. Joe Schoen. Joe Schoen has been at every Colorado game.
Yeah, smart man.
He's been at multiple practices. And by the way, there's one quarterback in this draft. And I don't say that because I'm a Buffalo's homer or whatever. Shedeur has some serious like pro things he needs to clean up. He's slow in terms of like going to his release. He's slow. So he reads the field well, but he always waits. He's a see it, throw it guy right now. And that's dangerous in the NFL. But compared to the rest of this class, 3-year, hopefully not 4 quarterbacks to get drafted in the first round. Only one deserves it. And it's Shedeur. And there you go.
Well, Cease, if you want to look skinny and young hanging around with fat old people.
There you go. Life advice from Sigmund Bloom. Let's talk about the advice of the Jets and the Jaguars. We've got advice for both of them. 32-25 is the final score, and that is a Jets win. That's right. Okay, let's talk about it then on the Jets side first. Aaron Rodgers, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns, no INTs. Devontae Adams, 9 for 198. My God, 2 receiving touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, 3 for 56 and a touchdown there as well. Rodgers leading the way on the ground with 45 yards, but Breece Hall he did play 9 for 30 and a rushing touchdown, also 2 for 21 as a receiver. A little bit of Isaiah Davis, tiny bit of Braylon Allen. But yeah, man, they get a win. I guess that's good.
Right.
Yes. Well, hey, Aaron Rodgers is going to win your fantasy league for you. Well, at least if you had Devontae Adams.
Yeah, or 2 quarterback superflex leagues is Aaron Rodgers. You feel like he's just kind of loosening up and playing football for the fun of it, and fun for fantasy, fun for Devontae Adams. Garrett Wilson got a touchdown early, and then he was frustrated on the sidelines. But still, with Rodgers taking shots downfield, hitting it late. Devontae Adams with a 70-plus yard touchdown, and then 2 catches totaling up to 70-plus yards. And then Breece Hall gets a touchdown. Also, the Wilson touchdown came after a fake punt. So, hey, the Jets are still trying. For Adams, it's touchdown 100 and 101 and down to the 1, or it would have been 102. Breece Hall again. If you put him in, you didn't get a big game, but it wasn't a bust. And sometimes, Cease, we were lamenting the quality of the early games. So, of course, it's the Jets and the Jags that is the actual exciting, good game, in part because I think someone dosed, sorry, Joe. That's why I'm wearing my Sorry Joe shirt today. I think someone dosed Mac Jones. Mac Jones seemed like he was flying high on a friendly sky, especially when he was throwing to Brian Thomas Jr.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers is out there with ayahuasca. Mac Jones will be out there with whatever inebriant that he wants. 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs. There's Mac Jones, 2 INTs. But Brian Thomas, we just need to all step back. If y'all aren't giving enough credit or love or pub or retweets or whatever to Brian Thomas, amazing. 10 for 105 and 2 touchdowns. Well, that's like an okay day for him. And that's with Mac Jones throwing him the ball, for the love of God. Brenton Strange, we know no Evan Ingram in this one. So Brenton Strange, if you were desperate at tight end, well, 11 for 73. Thank you. Parker Washington, we talked about, is like super deep. What the heck flex? 3 for 54. It's all right. Travis Etienne, 14 for 65. Also 4 for 20. There's your 420, Bloom, as a receiver. And Jacksonville, I mean, Travis Hunter will look nice. And by the way, our good friend Doug Farrar, he was going over Travis Hunter film. And if there's anyone that I love hearing them go over film, it's Matt Waldman and it's Doug Farrar. And Doug said that Travis Hunter is DeAndre Hopkins as a receiver and Darius Slay as a corner. That's why he's the Heisman Trophy winner.
That's pretty good. Too bad Darius Slayton isn't better, because you could say Darius Slay and Darius Slayton. But instead, he's just Travis Hunter. And yeah, we're going to see which of these teams get that shot. We did see Mac Jones. He was swagging. With his body language, some of the stuff, he was scrambling. He was making guys miss. Again, kind of like Aaron Rodgers. He's just out there having fun. This is another running back split that's driving us crazy. It looked like it was Tank Bigsby getting the early down work last week. This week it was a more even split. Actually, more Travis Etienne on early downs in terms of carries, and Etienne still involved in the passing game. So next week, Jacksonville against Las Vegas. That game is going to determine maybe who gets Travis Hunter. And we'll see probably both what the heck flexes. But Brian Thomas Jr. looks like a superstar. And when I say that, he wasn't supposed to be doing this stuff this early. He wasn't supposed to be breaking off pro releases and pro routes. The talk was speed, size, all that, athleticism, natural ball skills, all that was there. He just needed to learn the craft. Guess what? He's learned the craft. And if Trevor Lawrence can get a good offensive coach, look out. I think that Malik Neighbors may have a higher ceiling overall, but Brian Thomas is already there. Brenton Strange is already there. 11 catch. That was the correct answer. Who should I pick up off of the waiver wire this week to replace Evan Ingram? Actually, it was very easy. Or David Njoku. Makes you wonder, how much value was Evan Ingram really adding to his targets if Brenton Strange can just put up an Evan Ingram line like nobody's business with Mac Jones. So right now, you got a big log jam of teams with 3 wins. Seeing how that sorts out. Jacksonville's in that good position with their quarterback. If they could somehow add Travis Hunter, that'd be pretty sweet.
That would be damn sweet. Is that K1? That's our dude, K1. Is there really Sorry Joe merch? Yes, there is.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
There is. Footballguys.com.
Lots of colors, too.
Yes. Multiple. So go to footballguys.com. I'm there right now. And if you go to the more section, and there's our shop right there. So go to footballguys.com, then do the more on the drop-down menu, and then you'll see news, pretty important, and then shop. And go there. It's shop.footballguys.com, where you could look like a champion. Shop.footballguys.com. Unpaid endorsement. Or wait, paid endorsement.
Yeah.
I don't know. Endorsement. Yes.
Real quick. I was wearing this shirt at Vertimart, the 24-hour awesome place. If you're ever in the quarter and it's after midnight, you need to eat, go to Vertimart. Trust me on this one. And the dude who was ringing up my order was talking to his buddy, and he looked at my shirt and he looked at his buddy, he said, "Sorry, Joe." And his buddy said, "Sorry, Joe." And then he looked at me and he took my order. So very popular, this shirt.
Very popular. By the way, Matty B says, "Hey, Sig and C's been a fan since 2008 when it sounded like you recorded on a Fisher Price recorder."
Play school. Hey, get it straight. It was a play school recorder.
We actually did record the first show on a cassette.
Yes, I tell
Anyone
that story
remembers what
often.
that is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Speakerphone and a cassette. And I said, welcome back on the first show.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way, even if it's a very crude way.
It's like rubbing two sticks together. Pirate radio, everybody. The early days of
Arr.
radio. Arg. Cowboys Panthers. Next game up. I can't believe the Cowboys won. Sorry, Cowboys fans. Get offended as you like. Like, you'll be fine. Everybody's fine. Cowboys win this one, though, and the final score is 30-14. Cooper Rush, 3 touchdowns, no INTs, 214 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 9 for 116 and a touch. Jalen Brooks, 1 for 17 and a touch. Jalen Tolbert, 1 for 11 and a touch. Nobody started him. You probably didn't start Brandon Cooks, 3 for 34. Jake Ferguson, maybe you started instead of Brenton Strange, 2 for 23. Okay. The streak of 100-yard games, is that 3 now for Rico Dowdle? Is that correct? 25 for 149. Rico Dowdle leading the way. And I mean, they boat raced him, man.
See, Vegas was kind of like a fantasy football player who we leave someone on our bench and then finally, like, okay, I'll trust him on my lineup. They favored the Panthers in this one. That's how you knew the Cowboys were going to win. The favored Panthers lost. Cooper Rush played a pretty good game. Best game of his career, probably. Completing touchdown passes, not just to CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb had 4 for 70 and a touchdown on one drive in this one. And CeeDee Lamb finally came through. You know, CeeDee Lamb, one of those players, kind of the opposite of Derrick Henry. Not necessarily a reason you got to the playoffs, because if you took him 1, 2, or 3, you were expecting more, but a reason that you advanced today. And then Rico Dowdle finally, again, fantasy football. Don't take a Cowboys back because it's a mess. Correct, for half of the season. Take Rico Dowdle because he's the best of what they have and he can produce. True, and when it matters the most. Dallas with some pride wins and maybe trying to give Tampa a black eye as they're trying to race to the NFC South title.
Yeah, and here we go, Carolina. Just when we thought we could trust Bryce Young, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. Adam Thielen did all right. 5 for 51. I don't think anyone should be greedy with Adam Thielen. Jalen Coker. Love this young man's story. 4 for 110 and a touchdown there as he continues to grow. Xavier Leggette's awesome, but not yet, if that makes sense. 2 for 7 as a receiver. Chuba Hubbard, 10 for 32 on the ground. By the way, Bryce Young with a rushing touchdown. So here we go. Couldn't get Chuba going. It was 10-7 at half. You could still run. And then 14 points in the third quarter. And then they stopped running. But either way, this is the Carolina team we're stuck with.
Yeah, and Hubbard, again, a big reason you got to the fantasy playoffs as a late-round pick that you could start as a running back 2. Not a running back 2 in this one. 3 catches on the first drive, and then like 1 after that. Like you said, they abandoned the run. Jalen Coker with the 83-yard touchdown. That could be a beautiful connection going forward. You like seeing that Young and Coker can grow together. Leggett has a groin injury, I believe. So we'll see about him. But you know, if you start to see these ranks thinned at wide receiver, you have Adam Thielen, more of a high floor PPR play, but not high of a ceiling with Coker out there. Coker we'll be talking about on the Waiver Wire show tomorrow, and certainly in our What the Heck Flex ranks. Young had a fumble on a scramble in the red zone. There was a tip drill INT. He did at least get a rushing touchdown if you did trust him in your 2 quarterback super flex league. And Carolina, one of those teams, now we can say they have a quarterback and they are also in the mix for that number 3 pick. So maybe that's something we think about as they have Arizona coming to town next week.
Washington Commanders, New Orleans Saints, 20-19. What?
Huh?
Oh, I mean, that's what it was, and that's what it is, but that's what we're going to talk about next here on the Audible. Commanders side first, Jaden Daniels. Commanders 9-5, by the way. Jaden, 25-31, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, 226 yards passing. Terry McLaurin gets everything, 7 for 73 and 2 touches. I'm not really going to go down anyone. Maybe he had Zach Ertz instead of Brenton Strange. That's going to be our tagline.
Right.
You lost this week because you started this guy instead of Brenton Strange.
Right.
So Zach Ertz, I'm going to trust Zach Ertz this week, 2 for 25. Jaden Daniels, by the way, leading the way on the ground, 66 yards, 21 for 65. Hard-fought yards for Brian Robinson there on the ground. But the Commanders win, question mark? It should have been, they're facing Jake Haener to start with. And then they face Spencer Rattler. And I'm sorry for all the Rattler apologists. And you loved him on Netflix. He's not a good quarterback, especially not now as a rookie. He did something this game. Okay, congrats. But like the Commanders, what 20? It should have been 40-19.
Right. Whenever the quarterback gets benched mid-game, usually you win in a blowout. But in this one, it came down to the final play. Is it okay if I say getting some strange? Is that a sorry Joe? I guess it is probably a sorry Joe, but I hope some of you got some strange
Should have
in
been
your
got
fantasy
some,
lineups.
getting some strange, yeah.
Yeah. So Jaden Daniels had a pretty good game. There was more there for him in this one, and there was more there for Terry McLaurin. Even though Terry McLaurin has been one of the biggest hits in fantasy football and was a hit again this week, there was a 60-ish yard touchdown that glanced off of his hands, another one that was a little underthrown. So it's still there. And in New Orleans, it didn't look like they were going to be competitive in this game for a while. And like you said, there's not much else there. Zach Ertz left with a concussion. Washington only has a 1-game lead on the Rams. And they have to play Philadelphia next week. So, yeah, you think you're a playoff team. You go down to New Orleans and face Jake Haener, and it goes down to the last play. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. Even Lily Phillips thinks starting Jake Haener is a bad idea.
Sorry, Joe.
Sorry, Joe. Don't look it up, Joe. Joe be like, what's this Lily Phillips, buddy? Oh, my God.
We're in the second hour Blog Talk Radio style already.
Yeah, Joe's like, please stop talking about OnlyFans on the YouTube show, please. Sorry, Joe. Really, I am. Just feisty today. I think that Broncos game, it
was exciting.
It controlled me. Let's talk about the Saints side. Now, Spencer Rattler did come in. There's going to be some Rattler truthers out there. Don't at me, bro. 135, 1 touchdown, no INT. Cedric Wilson had a passing touchdown.
Right.
Kendry Miller, we're learning more about, 9 for 45. Alvin Kamara banged up. Okay, MBS 2 for 64, whatever. Kamara gets a receiving touchdown. Foster Moreau, remember him? He gets a receiving touchdown. So it's just they're kind of piecing it together without Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, or a coach.
Right. Foster Moreau. Well, I mean, I guess that was someone that did okay, not as good as Brenton Strange in PPR leagues. Wilson threw the touchdown past Alvin Kamara, so that was your parting gift if you had Kamara, groin injury. With this loss, it came down to a 2-point conversion and went off the hands of Juwan Johnson. If they'd won this game, they would still technically be alive. But now, I mean, they're not, I think, mathematically eliminated. I don't know how it works out. Maybe they are mathematically eliminated. I don't know why. Alvin Kamara was signed to an extension. Why are you going to put him back out there? I mean, if he wants to go back out there, I guess, because like you said, he's no coach. Spencer Rattler, we will see next week as New Orleans goes to Green Bay.
All right, 4 games down, 8 games to go. It's the Audible. Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom getting loose on a Sunday night. Cincinnati Bengals, Tennessee Titans in the clash of the, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Cincinnati, but I do know they won 37-27. They're still, it's alive. They're 6-8. Titans, they're done 3-11, whatever. Joe Burrow gets 3 touchdowns, 2 INTs, 271 yards passing on 26-37 passing. Jamar Chase, 9 for 94. T. Higgins, 5 for 88 and a touch. Mike Gesicki, 3 for 37 instead of Strange. Chase Brown gets a receiving touchdown. Brown also gets 97 yards and a rushing touchdown. Khalil Herbert's good. He gets like 1 carry. Mm-hmm. Is there some sort of like prop bet every week that the Bengals staff is like, we got to get Herbert as 1 carry?
Right.
Like he gets 1 carry and it's okay. Like it's 4 yards. Sometimes it's 14 yards, but it's always good. Anyway, I love Khalil Herbert. And well, whatever. I guess the Bengals love the fact they got this win.
Yeah, it's still technically alive. You put together all these different scenarios. I think if you're a Bengals fan, you know who you're rooting against. Or follow Joe Goodberry. Joe Burrow had an interception in the first minute, and then he went back to being great. Joe Burrow had another interception later on. Chase Brown is a league winner. And, if you switch the uniforms of Chase Brown and Devin Achane, you might say that Chase Brown's a better player. You might say that because we have Devin Achane. They're very similar, very bursty backs, smaller backs. Chase Brown, a little more size there. Jamar Chase didn't score, still had a great, solid game at least. He's been winning your week for you for so many weeks. T. Higgins had a solid game. Sam Hubbard caught a touchdown and then left the game with an injury after that. Also, by the way, Travondre Sweat. Cease, in the history of the Audible, how many times have we watched a 364-pound guy rumble, throw a stiff arm about 30 yards on the fumble return? That was awesome. I mean, this was a fun game to watch. And then you got Cleveland next week, Cleveland, Cincinnati. So keep winning against these bad teams, Cincinnati, and your season still has a pulse.
Tennessee side, I guess. Mason Rudolph in because Will Levis threw 3 picks. Rudolph goes 21 to 26, 209, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Tyjae Spears, 6 for 87 and a touch. Yay, did something. And then a rushing touchdown. Yay, he did more. Tony Pollard, 17 for 45 and a rushing touchdown. Chiggy Okonkwo, I love him, 8 for 59. Calvin Ridley, 3 for 41. Tyler Boyd, 2 for 39. Where's he at? Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, 2 for 9.
Yeah.
Your free agent bucks return on investment. That's like the
Right.
Hawk to a Bitcoin or whatever altcoin that she had for a second before she went to sleep. Like that's so weird. Altcoins are weird. I'm a Bitcoin guy. Full disclosure.
By the way, get your Lammey coin.
Like, yeah. Full disclosure, I'm a Bitcoin guy, and how do you know a Bitcoin guy? Because they always have to tell you I'm a Bitcoin guy. I'm also a VTI guy because it's all the top industries in one investment. So anyway, but when the altcoins and then like the celebrity altcoins, I want my Hawk to a whatever coin. It was weird. Don't listen to us for investment advice. Listen to us for fantasy football advice.
Yeah. So Mason Rudolph comes in, lots of throws to the tight ends. So we don't know who's going to start next week against Indianapolis. Again, this is another team in the mix trying to get up in that draft order. Geno Stone had a pick 6. And, Cecil, you saw a big play in Denver when Jonathan Taylor flipped the ball before he crossed the goal line. We've seen that before. At least
Deshaun Jackson.
Right. But Jordan Battle had a scoop and score that he lost at the goal line, and all he was trying to do was switch hands. He wasn't even trying to like flip it and look cool or anything. He just lost it at the goal line because he's like, I'm about to do something, so I better switch hands. And he dropped the ball and it went through the end zone. So yeah. So we'll see what happens. Tennessee, Indianapolis next week.
That's right. Kansas City, this is the depressing part of the show. Can you believe this? And did you see his leg? I'm a little squeamish, Bloom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Afraid of heights. Don't like any sort of compound fracture. And even though it's not that for Pat Mahomes, nobody use your lunch. It's okay. He's okay, everybody. But still, just see Pat Mahomes banged up like that. You're like, oh, damn it. I don't want to miss out on that guy playing football because that guy playing football is awesome. The Chiefs haven't scored 30 points this year, and they're 13-1. 21-7 over the Browns. They're 13-1. The Browns are 3-11. Patty Mahomes goes 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Carson Wentz comes in. Kareem Hunt goes 13-45. Isaiah Pacheco goes 13 for 32. Xavier Worthy gets a rushing touchdown. Xavier Worthy also leads the team in receptions with 6 for 46. DeAndre Hopkins 5 for 36. Travis Kelce 4 for 27. And then Juju Smith-Schuster gets a receiving touchdown. So, Bloom, they haven't scored 30 points this year, and they're 13-1, but Mahomes is a little banged up.
Yeah, ankle injury. And look, they have a big lead on the Bills at this point. So, I mean, why would Patrick Mahomes play next week against Houston? We might see Carson Wentz. Not that it's going to change your calculus here. I mean, maybe Xavier Worthy could it be worse? Xavier Worthy at least had a swing pass, which they called a reception. I mean, a carry because it was a lateral. It didn't go forward, so at least he did something. Noah Gray caught a touchdown. He's leading the team in touchdown catches. Noah Gray. Another theme this week: running back splits. We thought we knew. We thought, hey, Isaiah Pacheco's taking back over. Nope. Kareem Hunt returns to Cleveland, and it's a 50-50 split, which means in this offense, neither of them are worth anything. Travis Kelce. This is what you're probably going to get. I understand benching Travis Kelce next week, especially if it's Carson Wentz, but they're still the number 1 seed as Houston's coming to Kansas City.
Okay. Cleveland side, if we have to. Jerry Jeudy with 108 yards. He gets over 1,000 for the first time in his career. So congrats to Jerry. No touchdowns in this because Jameis Winston threw 3 picks and then DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, threw a pick. Jerome Ford gets a rushing touchdown and 84 yards on the ground. Nick Chubb gets 41 yards on the ground. Jerome Ford also gets 2 for 20 as a receiver. Jordan Akins, no David Njoku, so Jordan Akins goes 3 for 30 in this one. And yes, not great, Bob, when you have 11 for 108 to Jerry Jeudy. And then let me do some quick math here. 2, 4, 7 catches from only 3 other players.
Yeah. All I could think of, Cecil, when James Winston got benched for garbage time was Wally World's closed. We went all this way just for Wally World to be closed because the fantasy amusement park, but we knew this when Winston became the starter is the way he plays. Eventually, like, it makes great fantasy value also for the defenses facing him. But a coach can get tired of it. Kevin Stefanski would not commit to him being the starter next week against Cincinnati, which means Jerry Jeudy, you get 1,000-yard season and a total dumpster fire. I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not. Nick Chubb, this is why it's depressing too. Broken foot. We see Nick Chubb's last game as a Cleveland Brown, which is really sad because he's an all-time great Cleveland Brown. He really is. He's a signature Cleveland Brown player. See, when you think of like the Cleveland Browns of this era, you a little bit of nauseous. But then you think about Nick Chubb and you say, that's how the game's supposed to be played. And Jerome Ford did have a 62-yard touchdown when he pulled away from Kansas City's defense. It made it look easy. It looked easy. What's the kid's name? Gout. Have you seen the 16-year-old kid, Cease? I think Australian sprinter. Gout. I mean, he looked like Gout on that one. He's going to be on the waiver wire show. Certainly a big-time pickup with Nick Chubb and the broken foot, and that just sucks. And again, Cleveland, Cincinnati. By the way, Trent McDuffie had an interception in this game where he looked back at the video board and saw that Jameis Winston had thrown a pass in his direction and turned around in time to intercept it.
Smart. Smart. We got a foot injury and a gout reference.
Yeah, and Jimmy Haslam's going to say, we're turning off the video board for the next game.
Jimmy Haslam be like, can I save money by not having the video board? Can we just go with the old 70s scoreboard with like the light bulbs? You know what I mean? Like, just do that up. Miami and Houston. I love Mike McDaniel. I'm afraid he's not going to have a job.
Yeah. That's in my notes right here, Cease.
Yeah. So let's talk about it, and let's go 20-12. The Texans get the win. They're 9-5. A lot of Dolly Parton. What a
way to make a living.
Yeah, exactly. The Dolphins are 6-8. They're pretty much out of it. I mean, they're maybe a lot. I don't know. I hate this time of year. It's like with the college football committee. I am not a committee. It's the are they going to vote? Who are going to rank? And oh god, just get it over with so we can get the flipping bracket. Sorry, Joe. And we like the playoff bracket. Like, okay, and then if this happens, if 6 things happen, then the Dolphins will be in the playoffs. They don't deserve it. Tua's out there throwing 3 picks. They don't deserve to go to the playoffs. I don't want to see them in the playoffs. So I don't care if they're alive or not. Maybe they're not alive now. I don't know. Malik Washington, I love, by the way. Shrine Bowl shout out, 5 for 52 in this one. Jonnu Smith 9 for 48 receiving touchdown. Tyreek Hill 2 for 36. Devon Achane 12 for 41 as a rusher, 7 for 35 as a receiver. So PPR, God bless you, PPR leagues. Let's talk Dolphins side before we get. It's not like the Texan side is that much more impressive either. By the way,
no, it's not. Jalen Waddle. Let's start right there. So when you say injury luck, Waddle was just standing by the pile when he got rolled up on, has an injury. We'll see what happens there. Oh, that means Tyreek Hill's going to go off. No, it doesn't. No. And Tua Tagovailoa was pretty good coming to this game, but without Teron Armstead against the Houston tackles, not so good. Devin Achane had a floor game, but like you said, Cease, in PPR leagues, it still didn't kill you. It wasn't a landmine. The hero here is Jonnu Smith again. And Jonnu Smith's touchdown catch was a beaut. Let me tell you, Jonnu Smith is skilled. It's going to go down, as I hinted at a couple of times before the season. Maybe Kyle Pitts was holding Jonnu Smith back when we look back at the Arthur Smith Atlanta Falcons, because Jonnu Smith's got skills, and Jonnu Smith has physical talent, and Jonnu Smith is there for you. A lot of fantasy teams are going through, because there was another one of the correct answers. Like you said, Cease, I just have a note here that says McDaniel era over. Was this it? Was this the death rattle? Well, if not, next week, San Francisco's coming to Miami.
Okay, Houston is on their way to the postseason because I believe with the results today, they have secured their division with the Colts losing. Spoiler alert. They are the team that everyone wants to play.
Yeah, right.
Can we be the 5 seed so we can go to Houston and win a playoff game? Is that possible? CJ Stroud, couple of touchdowns, 131 yards passing. Joe Mixon leads them with 5 catches. Joe Mixon. I'm surprised he didn't have 30 carries. 12 for 23 on the ground. It was Dare Ongobowale with 35 yards rushing on 1 carry to lead the way on the ground. Tank Dell 2 for 26. Why am I reading this? Nico Collins did have the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
4 for 17 and 2 touchdowns. Okay, right on. Righteous. Is Dalton Schultz one of the other than Bretton Strange? Like,
no.
Probably not. But Houston, okay, you're 9-5, but man, you're not as good as you. I mean, it was everyone's sexy Super Bowl pick, right? It's going to be the Lions and the Texans. Okay, well, one of those guys is getting it done, and one isn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Steelers, Ravens, whoever loses that game, that's your consolation. You should probably go to Houston to open the playoffs. Nico Collins gets a touchdown after a sack fumble, another short touchdown, but like that was the highlight. Joe Mixon got hurt on a hip drop tackle, came back in the game. Let's watch the practice reports there. Quiet. Tank Dell, it's just not going to happen for him. This team can win against bad teams without really having good offensive performance. Kansas City's not a bad team, but if Patrick Mahomes isn't playing, I mean, that's going to be a slop fest. We are going to see them play Baltimore. We actually may see that game played twice in 3 weeks. We'll see. But yeah, the Texans, they're going to go back to the playoffs. They're going to win the division again, but it doesn't feel like they've taken a step forward.
Not at all. What do we know about the next game, Indy and Denver here? And 31-13, the final score. Wow, what a great game. Not really.
No.
Not really. Great defensive performance, great special teams performance for Marvin Mims, but not at all. And the Colts side, listen, Anthony Richardson, he's like Ben Roethlisberger who can't yet read a defense. I'm sorry. People get offended as you like. Anthony Richardson.
Said
yet. Yeah, well,
yes.
that's I'm couching it because like if you make, I don't want anyone to at me in 3 years when he actually can read a defense, but like he can't read a defense. The physical stuff is easy to see. Scott McLuhan told me that years ago. Like physical stuff, like yeah, well, okay, he's got the arm. Yes, he's huge. Yes, he can throw it 80 Brazilian miles and
from his knees.
Exactly. He doesn't know what he's doing with it. Only 2 games above 50% passing. Again, multiple throws against a beatable Broncos. They should have won this game. A beatable Broncos team on the road with that. Their playoff hopes are done now. They're just done. Anthony Richardson should have been much better, and he wasn't. Jonathan Taylor throwing the ball away before he crosses the line. That shifts the momentum. Wait till I go to the Broncos offensive numbers. They're pathetic. But they won 31-13 because Richardson kept feeding them the ball. Like, okay, all right, I guess I'll go through the box score. Jonathan Taylor, 107 yards on the ground. Richardson, a rushing touchdown, but a couple of picks, 172 there. Michael Pittman, 6 for 58. Kylan Granson, 3 for 47. Josh Downs, 3 for 32. Alec Pierce was concussed in this one, so we got nothing on the board there. But yeah, just, again, the physical talent. Hopefully one day it comes around for Anthony Richardson, but as of yet in his pro career, Bloom, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, the Jets game when he led the comeback, I mean, there's been moments. There are games that he played better than the stats. This was not one of them. So, yeah, if you were waiting on Anthony Richardson to match some good quarterbacks in your fantasy matchup, that did not work out. At least he got a rushing touchdown. Like you said, Jonathan Taylor dropping ball at the goal line. And just it's sad. I mean, there were fantasy games. There are teams that are not going to advance to the fantasy playoffs because of that. And then that sucks, But hey, fantasy football is perfect in some ways because it imports all of the senselessness of the NFL, weather, injuries, matchup, bad luck. Everything that makes the NFL senseless makes fantasy football senseless. So the Colts lost this game in part because Jonathan Taylor didn't see where the goal line was and was just laissez-faire about it when he broke to the open field. You might have lost your fantasy matchup or won your fantasy matchup if you were facing that team. Like you said, Alec Pierce concussed, facing Tennessee next week. So maybe that can be a fun game. I hope so if you have to go or watch it.
Yeah. Is Bo Nix not great, Bob, in weather conditions? It was colder. It wasn't real cold. It was like 40. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So not terribly cold, but his hands seemed cold. He definitely was cold as a passer. 20-33, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 INTs. Now his worst game of his pro career, he had 3 touchdowns and 3 INTs. But it's just, and it was windy. It was about 14-mile-an-hour winds, which again isn't tremendous, but still, it was just let's just put a pin in it. Bo Nix is awesome. He's great. Okay. Nobody started Nate Adkins, who had a receiving touchdown. Nobody started Adam Troutman, who had a receiving touchdown. You started Cortland Sutton, who had 3 for 32 and a receiving touchdown. Don't start any of these backs. Mm-hmm. Bo Nix led the way on the ground with 23 yards. By the way, Jaleel McLaughlin with a quad injury, and they play Thursday night against the Chargers, so put a pin in that. Thank God for Nick Bonito.
Yeah.
Pat Surtain Jaquan McMillan making some plays. Brandon Jones had a pick in this one. Jonathan Cooper sacking Anthony Richardson. Like, that Broncos defense did you some good, Bloom, and they might have been the best fantasy asset for you.
Yeah. Anything on Patrick Surtain? Did he get a little banged up in this one season?
They got a little ankle injury. The official report, this is straight from the locker room, Bloom, is that his ankle was taped but no limp.
Okay. Well, again, Thursday game. You talk about the cold hands. I do want to take a moment to say this. And this is something that everybody should cheer for. Okay. Everybody should cheer for this. Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, former Broncos quarterback among their teams, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First year as a high school head coach in Florida, won the state title this weekend.
Like 41-0. And his team outscored their opponents in the playoffs like 170-12.
Amazing. I love Teddy Bridgewater. Really. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him that his life after football is showing what he didn't get a chance because of that crazy knee injury. They were worried about his life when that happened. His knee like spontaneously dislocated in practice, and we never really got to see what Teddy Bridgewater could be in the NFL. But the earth is going to see what Teddy Bridgewater is as a human, and that's awesome. Maybe Bo Nix should try the Two Gloves. Like you said, you had a Marvin Mims punt return that set up a touchdown. And the Nick Bonito thing was awesome because they tried the throwback play. And I don't know why we haven't seen this more, but there must have been a moment, Cease, when Nick Bonito saw that Adonai Mitchell was turning back and he knew like the vectors, the physics. Oh boy, I'm going to get this one. Is that 2 pick sixes in like 3 weeks for him?
And technically a fumble because it was a throwback.
Right.
So they scored as a fumble recovery return for a touchdown. What he did is he had 2 blockers. And so he gets past the 2 blockers, but Surtain's running around on a blitz. Surtain goes after AD and puts his hands up when AD throws. Bonito sees it, breaks away. The tackle can't get to him because he's already beat him. So Bonito just runs right in front of Richardson and picks it off, the fumble, picks off the pass, returns it for a touchdown. And then does the Marshawn Lynch, puts the ball up here and then grabs his crotch. Yeah, grabbing picks and grabbing dicks. Sorry, Joe.
That's how good that game was. Denver Chargers, major playoff implications on Thursday night.
That's right. Can you please stop talking about the dicks, buddy? Sorry, Joe. Patriots in Arizona. We're off the rails.
The fish and dicks. Labor Day. Come to Denver for that. We love dicks. Yeah.
Yes, it's awesome. Patriots and Cardinals. Okay, let's get into this one. 30-17. All right. Cardinals are 7-7. Patriots are 3-11. So let's talk about the Patriots side first in this beyond the box score. Drake May, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, 202 yards passing. Kendrick Bourne with 3 for 44. Austin Hooper, 3 for 38. It was Ramondre Stevenson with 13 for 69. Nice on the ground. Drake May had a rushing touchdown here. You're not really starting anybody else, so Hunter Henry, 4 for 25, whatever. Cardinals just kicked their ass, basically.
Yeah, another team in the mix. They got their quarterback and could get a really good player early in the draft. Drake May did it in garbage time. He put him in there, about a 20-point fantasy game. A really nice little flip. I mean, he makes a couple of plays a week that tells you, this is going to be fun. Get some players around him. Put an offensive line around him. Pop Douglas catching the little flip that he did. Just great composure around the goal line. And that was basically it. They're going to Buffalo. So again, I think they're the number 3 pick right now as it stands. Travis Hunter, I wonder what he likes. If like playing in the cold, because if New England holds on to that pick, that may be where he ends up.
That may be. Arizona side, Kyler Murray. I don't know if you've ever seen that meme video, Bloom. It's like 5'3" and an attitude. 5'3" attitude.
Yeah.
When you start Marvin Harrison Jr., expecting him to do more, and Kyler Murray goes 5'3" and an attitude, 5'3" and an attitude,
and then James Conner runs you over.
I told you we're on one. 224 for Kyler Murray. Clayton Tune gets in this game, so rich man, poor man there. James Conner, 16 for 110 and 2 rushing touchdowns. Trey McBride, 9 for 87. Greg Dortch, 3 for 60. Marvin Harrison, 2 for 32. James Conner, 5 for 28 as a receiver. And that's the way it goes when you score 30-17 and you just win it at home.
Yeah, hopefully you avoided the Marvin Harrison Jr. landmine because he was facing Christian Gonzalez in this one. Kyler Murray got a little banged up. Hopefully you avoided him because, it isn't a good outlook for him when they're going to win easily. It's still in the playoff hunt. Greg Dortch fumbled at the goal line. Jonah Williams recovers it. Nobody wins for fantasy when that happens, but everybody wins if they drafted James Conner, who for the second year in a row, even though he's an older running back, and that's going to be one of the stories of 2024 in fantasy football, the older running backs, finishing strong, his best football. Great game for him. Again, Arizona going to Carolina, still alive. Got to keep beating these bad teams.
Keep beating the bad teams, and now to the greatest game that we've all been waiting for. Because this was it, man. This was the show, the big show. And we all wanted to see, what did Buffalo and Detroit look like? And it did not disappoint.
No.
Whatsoever at all. 48-42. A 21-point fourth quarter surge by those Lions means they almost got it. But let's talk about Josh Allen, who is amazing. I think Bill Cowher called him Josh Alien because he is non-human. He's superhuman, whatever you want to say. He's officially awesome, and that is one Josh Allen. 362 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Ty Johnson, 5 for 114. Yeah, that Ty Johnson. As a receiver, 5 for 114. 2 for 9 on the ground. Keon Coleman, 1 catch, but 64 yards. Dalton Kincaid, 4 for 53. Dawson Knox, 2 for 42. Khalil Shakir, 6 for 39, and a receiving touchdown. Ray Davis gets a receiving touchdown, and then 15 yards on the ground. James Cook, 14 for 105, 2 rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen, 11 for 68, 2 rushing touchdowns, and away we go. Buffalo hangs on, Bloom. They hang on, but they win the damn thing.
Yeah, and Josh Allen, we run out of adjectives. And for fantasy football, I don't know what percentage of Josh Allen teams are advancing. It's going to be a lot of them. And to the running back, Ty Johnson. Who knew? Who knew Ty Johnson? See, you want a good pull. Pat Doherty, who I love, Roto Pat, love him. He said he was going Shane Vereen on him today. Ty Johnson doing a Shane Vereen imitation in the passing game as a running back. James Cook running away from the defense. So James Cook let us down a little bit last week coming through. Ray Davis even getting touchdowns. All about the running backs and Josh Allen and a shovel pass to Khalil Shakir. And that's, this, I know we would look at the receiving stats for this game and go, oh, for fantasy, that's a nightmare when you see how many points they scored and how many yards Josh Allen threw for. But that's exactly what Joe Brady drew up, right? Except for the Amari Cooper's not catching a pass. That's exactly what he drew up, with Dalton Kincaid, it wasn't a fantasy ceiling kind of day for him, but still you saw the kinds of plays we were hoping he would be able to make. And actually Dawson Knox made a really good play in this one too. So yeah, Buffalo, I don't even want to say it. Don't
say it.
Just keep focusing on the game in front of you, Buffalo. You're not going to have home field go through Buffalo. That's okay. Just keep focusing on the game in front of you. Keep playing like this.
Wait, Bloom, wait. Kansas City's not going far in the playoffs, man.
Well, that's the thing is you need Kansas City to get knocked off early in the playoffs.
Yeah, you get knocked off, you're going to have to go to Buffalo in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, and look, everybody can say now, if we see a rematch of this game in the Super Bowl, everybody come down to New Orleans. Party at my house. Come on.
Careful.
It might actually happen. I know.
Hey, this might be a party weekend.
Maybe we'll come out to your hotel room in Metairie or New Orleans East. The New Orleans people will get that.
Jared Goff, 5 touchdowns, 494 yards. My God. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Say amen, right?
Yeah.
14 for 190. That's the reason why you said 14 for 193 and a receiving touchdown. I was studying Sanskrit on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Sam Laporta.
That's like the original language, yeah.
7 for 111. Jahmyr Gibbs, 5 for 83 and a receiving touchdown. Jamison Williams, 3 for 37 and a receiving touchdown. Timmy Pats, 4 for 30 and a touchdown. Dave Montgomery, 4 for 31 as a receiver. Dan Skipper, of course, the big man from Arvada, Ralston kid, who was with the Broncos. He's like 6'10 as a tackle, a thick 6, a big man touchdown. Dan Skipper getting involved. Jahmyr Gibbs gets a rushing touchdown here. They didn't do much on the ground. Of course, they fall behind. They got to go pass, which is great because they can go pass.
Yeah, and you ran it down. If you decided to go with Jared Goff See, I had someone in my mentions during the early game saying, I'm facing Josh Allen. I could go Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff. I'm thinking about going Goff. What do you think? And he said 6-point pass touchdowns. Goff, sure, let's do it. He did it. I'm glad he did, because it would have been a shame to miss out on this game from Jared Goff. Amon-Ra St. Brown, like you said, we saw Sam Laporta finally have a ceiling game that didn't involve 2 touchdowns. Jameson Williams catches one at the end. You had, of course, David Montgomery had a poor game because they were playing from behind. Jahmyr Gibbs gets a touchdown on a hook and ladder from Amon-Ra St. Brown, or first down actually on a hook and ladder. I love Dan Campbell. I say that, and I really mean I love him. I'm not saying he's a great coach or whatever. Maybe he does need someone to calm him down on the sidelines, though, because he did an onside kick, and you have to declare an onside kick now with like 12 minutes left in the game, and Mac Hollins returned it down to like the 7-yard line. If he doesn't do that, is it different? Does the fourth quarter play out? I don't know. Maybe not. But just calm down a little bit, Dan. Calm down, because that's the kind of decision that's going to keep the Lions from getting to the Super Bowl. All right. I know you want to gamble, but someone needs to explain to him the conversion rate on onside kicks and why it's not a good idea to do it with 11 minutes left in the game. But yeah, this game was awesome. And they're going to Chicago. Now, listen, the Lions have not even locked up this division yet. The Vikings play tomorrow night against Chicago. You know, the Lions may end up a wild card team if they don't watch it. I think Dan Campbell will get them back on the same page for that game against Chicago.
As Jeff says in the chat room, there's no calming down Dan Campbell.
Yeah. What do you mean calm down?
I thought this was America.
Yeah.
He does have the wheelbarrow for his balls. That's for sure.
Sorry, Joe. We're gonna run out of Sorry Joes. We've used the Sorry Joe jar. Now we've used up our quota of Sorry Joes for the whole month of December. It's over.
Oh, yes. We're so nice, and then today we're just like naughty.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
Sorry,
spicy.
Joe Plus. Sorry, Joe Plus.
Sorry, Joe Plus coming soon.
You know, cancel your YouTube TV. Their price is going up. Sorry, Joe Plus still free.
I do have YouTube Premium, which is awesome. So we thank you for helping us grow our YouTube channel, by the way. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that. We got 2 games left. Buccaneers and Chargers, if we can call it a game. Am I right, fellas? Yeah. I mean, my God. The Chargers want to show up because they didn't at home. The Buccaneers 40, the Chargers 17. Chargers are 8-6, falling behind the Broncos. Buccaneers are 8-6. Baker the baby maker 2 for 88. Or wait, he only had 88 yards. 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. Mike Evans, amazing, 9 for 159 and 2 touchdowns. Where's he at in the season, Bloom? Does he have 1,000 yards yet?
I don't know.
I don't want to live in a world where Mike Evans doesn't get 1,000 yards receiving.
Right.
He's at it every single year, and he'd better be close. I know he missed some time this year. Jalen McMillan, that one's working. Jalen McMillan, 5 for 75 receiving touchdown. Rachaad White receiving touchdown as well, in addition to 64 yards on the ground. Bucky's feeling better. A little bit of the toe. Whatever. 15 for 117. Love Bucky Irving.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that we get to see this team in the playoffs. But Jalen McMillan stepping up as that number 2 option. Rachaad White gets a touchdown in this one, runs well. Rachaad White, as Bucky Irving is running well. He's running well, of course, Bucky Irving. Rachaad White actually the better fantasy play of the 2, but they're both running back 2 flex plays. Baker Mayfield's a quarterback 1. Baker Mayfield. And then why you do want to see Baker Mayfield in the playoffs? Because I think he could, he played Detroit pretty close last year. He's beaten the Jalen Hurts Philadelphia team in the playoffs. So he already knows that he can lead his team deep into the playoffs. They got to beat a team like Dallas to stay on track to get to those playoffs.
Matt B, which is one of 2 Matt B's in the chat room. It's a thing in our chat room tonight, Bloom.
Yeah, it's Matt B night.
Matty night. Chargers haven't showed up since Dobbins got hurt. To that, I'll say square biz. I mean, do I need to go over the Quentin Johnson had a touchdown, Ladd McConkey had a touchdown.
Right.
Awesome.
McConkey played and didn't limp off the field. So he should be good to go Thursday night and be in your lineup. Quentin Johnston, we'll see. Josh Palmer fades back in the background. Stone's smart. So if you couldn't get some strange this week, hopefully you got smart. Don't get strange, get smart. Well, if you can't be smart, at least get strange. I could go all night like this, folks. Again, tune in Thursday night. Denver Chargers. Be there.
Well, and I love the fact that Smart, I wrote about him on Saturday because he's a JUCO quarterback who went to Old Dominion then. He was at Northern Arizona and Riverside City.
Oh, wow.
And then went to Old Dominion, played wide receiver for 1 year at Old Dominion. And he's been with the Chargers developing for 3 seasons. So, you know us, Bloom. We love the deep sleeper. Stone smart. Making you look smart. That's right.
Yeah. And hey, we're going to get to snorkel, scuba, and submarine. For your deep dynasty players out there, buy low, sell high, starting last week turns into I go through each position. And then Cecil and I do a show in January. And when teams keep bringing a player back on a reserve future contract, pay attention. They're telling you, we see something we might be able to develop here.
Okay, there we go. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, the final game of the evening to go over. And Steelers and Eagles, man.
Bleh.
Steelers and Eagles. That's what you're going to get, right? 27-13, the final score. Eagles getting the win. Steelers are 10-4. Eagles are 12-2. Russell Wilson goes 128, 1 touchdown, no INTs. It was Calvin Austin with 5 for 65. Pat Freiermuth, 3 for 22 and a touchdown. Mike Williams, 1 for 15. Of course, no Pickens in this game, as we told you on the preview show. Probably not going to be Pickens. So more Mike Williams. Not really. More Calvin Austin. Yeah, kind of. Najee Harris. I mean, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren had 10 carries for 26 yards combined. Yeah, it's not great, Bob. And again, at halftime, it was 17-13. You could still run, and they just couldn't run. So let's talk about the Steelers. Headed to the postseason, but headed how far in the postseason?
Yeah, TJ Watt gets banged up. Look. No George Pickens. This is not a credible offense. It's just that easy. It's just not a credible offense. We talked about the Justin Herbert offense not exactly making the needle move. That's the Steelers offense. You had a terrible fumble from Najee Harris in this one. The Steelers put up their typical. You saw them in the white uniforms. I know you were engrossed in your game in Denver, but seeing the Steelers on the road in a late game under the lights, and it's a good team in the white jerseys. You flash back to a lot of games that they have just ground out and found ways to make plays to win it. Felt a little bit like that for a little bit, but this offense is just not credible, and the defense was having trouble. We'll get to that. So we'll see. George Pickens going to be ready to play on Saturday against Baltimore. Because if not, then, you fall back into a tie with the Ravens, and we see which direction each team is headed right now. And we can see where the Eagles are headed, Cease. This is a team that is a complete team now. Vic Fangio has this defense playing well. Jalen Hurts is feeding A.J. Brown. And, NFC bracket starting to look more and more interesting with every week.
Very, very interesting. Eagles side. Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, 290 yards passing. Hurts also with a rushing touchdown. A.J. Brown, 8 for 110 and a touch. Devontae Smith, 11 for 109 and a touch. Kenneth Gainwell, 3 for 40. Right on. 7 for 20 as a runner. Saquon Barkley, 19 for 65, 2 for 9 as a receiver. I knew some Barkley GMs that were like, damn it. I needed Barkley to have a big game. Didn't happen, but the Eagles got the win, so that's all they care about.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts playing with a broken finger on his non-throwing hand, whatever, doesn't matter. Jalen Hurts had a good fantasy game. Kenneth Gainwell looking good, got it down to the 1 or the 2 before that. A.J. Brown gets his, Devontae Smith gets his, so maybe it was a tougher call to play Devontae Smith this week after he hasn't exactly been going off, but next week against Washington, you're probably putting him in. Like you said, it was Saquon Barkley coming up small, and I guess the only thing with this game that makes it go, is it now with that small game from Barkley to talk about the record, 2,000 yards. We'll see. It's been a monumental season for Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry. Much more so than Derrick Henry. Actually, if Barkley let you down this week, he was a reason you got to the fantasy playoffs, and hopefully you got a bye, and you didn't have to worry about that. That's why those buys are so important. And do they clinch the division or not? Doesn't matter. And see, what's exciting about this is we're watching Green Bay really giving it to Seattle. In Seattle. So maybe whoever comes out of the NFC West, unless it's the Rams, I'm not sure. But Philly, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, these are all Tampa Bay. Yes, Tampa Bay. These are credible teams to make a run in the playoffs. So the NFC bracket is fun because I think that it's just going to come down to who's playing the best in January, and that's how it should be.
That's how it should be, Sigmund. As we wrap up today's show, yeah, man.
Yeah. Was it good for you? Sorry, Joe.
Yes, I'm going to edit this podcast, post it up for all of our Spotify and Apple, and then hopefully Joe. See, now I did this. I'm naughty on purpose because
Right.
Joe, I have a meeting with Joe every week, as you
Right.
do, and it's
Right.
fantastic.
Right.
We're
Right.
actually going to miss our meeting this week, so I was like, I
Right.
guess I can just say whatever because
Right.
Joe can't tell me until next week,
No
unless
meeting
he
with the
just,
teacher. Yeah.
and then he just fires me.
That's all right. Some editing jobs are easier than others.
Very, very true. And then I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch some Alan Watts on YouTube.
Oh, that's great. Everybody
Yeah.
needs more Alan Watts in their life.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And the Sanskrit I was studying, and there's also I love word etymology, Bloom,
Oh, yeah.
and I love the meanings of words. You would be surprised out there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
won't bore or shock or offend
Everybody,
people.
let me interject. Everybody should know what their name means. Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
go look up what your name means. Everybody should know what their name means.
Do you know what my name means?
What does your name mean?
Blind.
Blind, but what does Lammey mean?
Lamb.
Lamb, a blind lamb.
But
Oh,
I say
cool.
this when people say, "Oh, it's like," because I'm like, why can't it be like great warrior or hung like a horse or something? It's supposed to be blind. Sorry, Joe. They're just racking them up. But I was like, wait, love is blind. So my
Yeah.
name is Love.
Justice is blind.
Woo. Love and Justice.
Yeah.
Coming to you on the CW.
Yeah. My name means victorious protector. Sigmund means victorious protector. Bloom, I guess, of the bloom of the becoming. But my middle name is my mother's maiden name, McClay. So I guess it could be like victorious protector of the clay bloom. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So the Sanskrit I was studying was the word doc a.
Mm-hmm.
I might be mispronouncing it, but anyway, it was basically about like the frustration from change. And there's actually not a common word for that. And then there's a Japanese word yugen, which means accepting change. The coming and goings of things is marvelous, and our connection is eternal. Like, and I think that's where, because football is always changing, right? And everything changed. We've been doing the show for 19 years. I hope we do it another 19 years. But it's like the change in life. I got a lot of people close to me that are maybe struggling with that. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to find some ways. And hell, I've struggled with that in the past. I'll struggle with more in the future.
In the future, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also knowing the comings and goings. Like when people come in and out of your life, it's not always supposed to be the same. You know, it's not always supposed to be constant. And it's that change, the yugen that you have to have, where you have an appreciation for the change. Like you may be saddened by that change, but you need to also appreciate it because it is part of the flow of energy in life.
Yeah. Well, grief is equal to love. Loss and pain of loss, it's just evidence of love. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to love. So it means you're doing it the right way in some ways when change throws you off or when loss throws you off. And if you can come back to the joy of participation and see what I try to center myself on when I need to, boy, I need to a lot these days, is we're here mostly to notice things and appreciate them. I think when you're doing that, you're close to the divine, because the divine is everywhere if you're looking at it. What the Grateful Dead say, once in a while you get shown the light in the strangest of places, down on Bourbon Street. If you look at it right, that's where they got set up, by the way.
By the way, Jazz, super quick story. Like, sorry, Joe. What was I'm sure it was early on.
I don't know what the Big Bang was, but it was some moment early on when we realized.
Yeah, early on. I used to cuss on this show when we would record with Pasquino. Speaking of Bitcoin,
is he a billionaire now?
He's a Bitcoin billionaire. But like, so I would go back and I would edit, and then I'd just like take out the cuss words, and we'd laugh, and it was funny, but it created like 30 minutes more work for me. And so I drove to work. Still, when I work at the machine shop, I think, which was for the first year of this show. We started in 2006. I stopped the machine shop in 2007. So I was driving to work, and I heard myself say the F word on this show. Turn around, and I think that might have been the birth of like, sorry, Joe. So now when we say something kind of naughty, because Joe is a really good person, we are scoundrels. I will speak for myself, Bloom. I'll say you're less of a scoundrel than I. You really focus on being a good person. I just focus on being a scoundrel. So there's a difference. Right. So there's a difference. But so we say sorry, Joe, when we say something naughty or say something, because there's a lot of podcasts, and it's it's podcasts, it's the internet, it's a wild west, baby. So everyone's F this and F that and all that, and which is fine, it's great, whatever. I don't know if you're a Barstool like Backwards Hat Bro or whatever, which is cool if you are. If you're not, whatever. That's not really my scene. Whatever, I don't care. But we don't have to cuss on our raps to sell records. So we just say sorry, Joe, when we say
sorry,
something slightly inappropriate, because Joe listens to every episode, and we appreciate him for that.
And sorry, Joe also means we're always striving to be better, right?
We try at least.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Boom. He's Sigmund Bloom. You follow him on all the socials at Sigmund Bloom. I am at Cecil Lammey. The show is at The Audible, saying thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid, and we appreciate you very much. He's Sig, I'm Cease. We are The Audible. Stay tuned and stay frosty.